Well, the tide is finally turning, and Kamala's speech is slurring. Thank God we're saying bye to Joe. Screw the woke, screw the woke, screw the woke. And the mainstream media's dying, their viewers shaving their heads and crying. What is a woman? Well, they still don't know. Screw the woke, screw the woke, screw the woke. They tried to stop us by taking his life, but they missed, so it's fight, fight, fight. The left really thought they'd beat the right, and they fought, but they lost, thank the Lord. Now January is coming, half of Hollywood's already running. They're finding new countries to call home. Screw the woke, screw the woke, screw the woke.
Good evening, everybody. Chris McDonald back with you with our second half of our McFile Thursday night double feature. We're grateful to have you, and I tell you what, I have just missed this guy. It's been a while since we've had him, but we're grateful to get him on before the end of the year. Mike Simonelli, my dear buddy up in New York. Mike, it's always a pleasure to have you on the McFiles. I'm looking forward to many more of these next year, buddy. And as I was telling you before the show came on, we hope to meet you in person next year and see you up in that neck of the woods when we go up there. But it's great to have you tonight. And I just found that woke Christmas carol, and I didn't think there was any better introductory music for Mike Simonelli than Screw the Woke, Screw the Woke, Screw the Woke. What say you?
How you doing, Chris? Thank you so much for having me on. It's great to be talking to you again. Yeah, that would be awesome. I'd love to meet you down in New York if you can get down here next year. And I love that song.
That was awesome, wasn't it?
Great. Oh, it was phenomenal. I love it. I love how we are winning. We are pushing back against it. People are finally coming out and being more vocal. Because, you know, for a long time there, people were afraid to say anything because they're afraid they get doxxed, be called a racist, a sexist, a transphobe, all kinds of crazy stuff. But the tide has turned thanks to President-elect Donald J. Trump, and people are stopping. They're stopping to be so afraid to just tell the truth and point out common sense reality.
It sure is, buddy, and I couldn't have said that better. Hey, I do want to ask you a question. You are up in the Big Apple, and I wanted to bring you on tonight to talk about several things, and we'll get to a lot of topics. But I want to start with Daniel Penny. I thought it was a tremendous win for justice. Yes. What happened to this young man with the court system and them throwing these cases out. And this man's life was ruined, Mike, by Alvin Bragg. And I know you're right there in the hotbed of this. And I shake my head at how these crooked district attorneys like him get away with this stuff. And at some point, justice has got to be served on Alvin Bragg. And I'm just saying that as bluntly as a Southerner can say it. I've never seen a more corrupt individual than him. Fanni Willis, Letitia James is another one up in your neck of the woods. And I just think that justice is about to fall, man. I do. I think that they've screwed the pooch. And I hope that the domino that fell with Daniel Penny's case is just a start, because I think that Alvin Bragg should take note of what happened in Georgia today with Fanni Willis, because her ass is gone, and his is next. His is next.
Well, I sure hope so when Donald Trump takes over and puts some people that want to follow and enforce the rule of law in our country and not use lawfare against their political enemies. that the DOJ does look into what Alvin Bragg did to Daniel Penny and there's possible civil rights violations and holds him accountable. But because who's not going to hold him accountable are the people of Manhattan, who will probably vote him in again next year because they voted in this past November election. About 86.4%, I believe, went against Donald Trump and for Kamala Harris. So with those numbers, and there hasn't been talk of anybody primarying Alvin Bragg because he's running on his record of being the guy who took Trump down, he's going to get reelected.
Yeah, I know. But would it be fair to say that he took Trump down? I think that Trump wins all this on appeal, and Marshawn not throwing it out, I think he did Trump a favor, Mike, and I'll tell you why. If Marshawn would have dropped the case, okay, and just let it go and then walk into the sunset, then no judicial body would have been able to look at what they've done to bring this case. And I think that it was a dangerous precedent that Alvin Bragg set. And look, this works both ways. I mean, if a Republican DA got in and they wanted to go after Democrats on this thing, to me it would be just as much of a travesty because the law was perverted to get these charges. And
Agreed.
I'm hoping that a judicial body with some sense, and I know that's a dime a dozen up in New York and that area of the country, but it's the same down here. I mean, it ain't much better down south, as much as I would hate to admit it, because we just got a bunch of crazy, dumb, blank judges that don't have a brain, and I don't know how they even get on the judgeships anyway. But right. I hope that when somebody looks at this case, they tear it to pieces on a legal manner. But in doing so, take a look at the practices of this DA and tear him down in such a way that he can't claim that it's just a bunch of right-wing Trump supporters that did him this way, that it's I hate to use this term, a jury of his peers, literally, in the judicial community that basically shows this case to be the fraud that it is, and him and Marshawn both to be the fraud that they are.
Well, I agree with what you're saying, but I don't think him or the people on the radical left will ever admit to, what a travesty of justice that was, what a miscarriage it was, and they will always use the moniker of, there's just right-wingers coming after me and persecuting me. That's not going to change. Just like, look, I don't think he took Trump down, but that's going to be his talking point for his next election.
Right.
And the low information voters of New York City are just going to hear that on MSNBC or CNN, and they're going to go, oh, yep, that's right, he did it, he's my guy. And that's it.
What is the temperature on the street in New York right now about the election? I know that the liberal media is having a meltdown, but what's the regular folks just in the Big Apple walking down the street every day? How do they feel about what's happened in November and what's coming in January?
Fortunately, I don't go into Manhattan very often. No, seriously, it is an S-hole. I don't say the words on here, so
that's all right. There's been worse using this, Mike. Trust me. Go ahead, but I get it.
No, but I can tell you, walking around Long Island, it's very positive. You see a lot of pro-Trump shirts being worn in the gym, at the stores. So there's no hiding it. Everybody's showing it proudly, and it's great. Or the stickers on the cars, magnets, whatever. Very positive.
Yeah. We had Jen Harrison on about a month or two ago, and another guy, and they were talking about Eric Adams' situation because he brought the wrath of the establishment down on his head when he started standing up for Trump's policies regarding these illegals getting taken out of New York. Because, I mean, I've heard that y'all city, man, is worse than Del Rio, Texas. I mean, it's almost like y'all have become the southern border, part two up there. Are the people fed up finally, and they are getting what Eric Adams is? Have you been pleasantly surprised by him? Do you think it's a chameleon act? Do you think that he's seen the light? What is your thoughts on Eric Adams and where he's at? Because he's facing criminal charges himself now over the malfeasance of the mayor's office.
Right. Eric Adams is a complete political animal. I don't trust him as far as I could throw him.
Gotcha.
It's nice that he's trying to come on our side, even though it's just to save his own butt and try to get a pardon or something from President Trump. So it's nice to see the in-party fighting amongst them. But No, I don't believe anything that he would say. Look, he came up through the police department, not even being a cop. He was political from the get-go. I think he has a total of 8 or 9 arrests in his entire career. Now, in New York City, that is pretty hard to do because the criminals literally throw themselves at you.
Yep, that's true.
For him to do that, he's turning his head, behind, so the crime is behind him and he doesn't see it. He started an organization there based on race, and he just used that to catapult himself up through the ranks and to where he is now. So,
and I'll ask you the same question I asked Jen, and she was, look, and I agree with what she said. I asked her point blank, did you think this was politically motivated from the right, or the left, because he did stand up? And she basically said, and y'all were there, and she basically said, no, it's just he's corrupt. That these were actual corruption charges that actually was about actual corruption in the mayor's office. And do you hold that same opinion? Do you think that this is just basically just a bunch of people that misuse funds and didn't do their job right, and that's what this is about more than the political stuff?
I would think it's probably both, because sadly the corruption is very common in politics in America and New York. And when a bunch of his police commissioners or deputy commissioners have all resigned or facing charges, it was in the news a lot over the past year. One after another is going down. They're being raided by the FBI. So it seems like a combination of actual corruption and political, just like when you talk about money being wasted, you have Bill de Blasio's wife, Charlene McRae, who she was put in charge of mental health initiative in New York City, which this ties into the Justin Neely, Daniel Penny incident. About $800 million unaccounted for. But
wow.
There's no, where's the investigation by Letitia James and Alvin McRae and Alvin Bragg into that?
Nowhere.
No, exactly.
Nowhere. Are y'all? Let me ask you this, and I should have clarified this earlier. So Alvin Bragg is an elected DA. He runs for office. Yes. Was Letitia James in the same boat?
Yes, she's the Attorney General for the state. So
state,
she
okay.
Also runs. Yes.
Gotcha. So they're both elected. And do you feel that there's any hope then, because of the state of affairs in New York, that they would get defeated? Do you think they're going to keep power?
I think they're going to keep getting elected, just like AOC.
Wow.
Our district is hurting so bad. There's brothels. It's become infamous for these brothels now of illegals being human trafficked right near schools and everything. And one of the men, I believe he's a Dominican, who helped her get her initial campaign off the ground, brought her around. He was a big man in the community, brought her around to other leaders and introduced her and got her started. She doesn't even return his calls, and he's complaining and saying how he regrets having supported her because since she's got in office, she's turned her back on where she is. But she just got reelected again.
I know. I know. It's insane. And look, when you lose Nancy Pelosi, man, I'm sorry, if you're a Democrat and Nancy Pelosi don't like you, you're just screwed. And Nancy Pelosi pretty much stuck a knife up her back last week, supporting the elder guy for the head of the committee that she was after, House committee. And so it's Mike, this is what makes this whole political stuff so bizarre to me up there, that New York politics, there just ain't nothing like it. We got another lady that's going to be on our show soon, Helen Q, and she ran for office up there, and she was telling me some similar things you did. And it is really a convoluted mess when you get to politics, because you would think that at some point the people, and that's who I'm thinking about here tonight, you would think that the people would get tired of this, but it just seems like it's a carousel. They never get tired of what's going on there, do they?
No, and they don't even vote. So the percentage of people coming out to vote, I think in mayor's races was as low as 20%. So, the apathy is just horrible.
It sounds like it, man. Let me ask you this: a couple of other news stories tonight. I don't know if you've been following it. This budget, we may stop the government, may shut down by this time tomorrow night. Is the Republican Party in New York on the state level as impotent as the Republican Party nationally? Is that something? Because Helen told me basically that a lot of the fault of what you're talking about right now lies at the toothlessness and the gutlessness of the Republicans in New York. And I think it's the same thing on a federal level in Washington. Is that a fair statement, or is the Republican Party in New York coming back? What's the state of affairs, do you think, in that realm?
The Republican Party lost power, I think it was maybe 6 years ago.
Yes.
They used to have at least one house, small majority. And once they lost that, no, they've had no power. They're just a minority, and they get trampled by the Dems just because of the sheer numbers of the city. Because when you look at certain counties, like Nassau and Suffolk, we are very red.
Yes, what she said. That's what Helen Q said. She said y'all are very red in that section, and it does make you sort of roll your head, don't it? That the Republicans can't get more power and do more for the state. But I think it's the same issue with the federal thing, Mike. We can't look if we can't close a freaking budget, every time, and we have to do these stopgap measures. Somebody ain't doing their job, man. And at this point, I'd be okay if we just eliminated the House and the Senate and let us Americans figure the budget out. I think we could do a better job. What you think?
We sure could. We couldn't do a worse job. When you think about the things that what's government supposed to do? Their main priority is safety, to take care, safe and secure the country, the citizens. The border, they're failing. They're failing from foreign governments or agencies with drones in our airspace, selling land to China next to our military bases, secrets to China. Where are they doing anything good? Like, where can you find a case where something that the government's in charge of excels? Not healthcare, right? Look at the VA. Veterans, they try to avoid going to the VA. Yeah,
I'm with you there. By the way, while I'm at it, before I forget about it, I got to ask you, have you, I know you're in the city there, but have you seen any of the drone sightings that they're seeing in New Jersey? And what's the scuttlebutt on the ground in New York relating to these drones? I know what the media is telling us. I know what the dumb blank government's telling us, which I don't believe a word they're saying. But the people, and you're in law enforcement, how concerned is law enforcement over this? Because I've watched some of the statements from these mayors in New Jersey. A lot of these sheriffs, they're frustrated because they can't get a clear answer. How's the folks in New York handling all this?
I've spoken to people in New York and New Jersey who have seen them, and you know why they're afraid? Because they know they can't trust their government to tell them the truth.
That's so true, Mike. That's so true. What is your gut on this? I mean, and again, I don't think any of us know for sure. And we had some folks on earlier this week, a couple of CIA buddies of mine, former operatives and intelligence people, and former federal agent Eric Karen, and even they could not put their handle on fully what these drones are. But they're with you. What frustrates them is the government's response to it, and that's usually worse than the situation itself. But do you think, is there a part of you in Mike Simonelli's heart that believes that these drones could be dangerous, and there's something nefarious behind them?
Yes, because all it would take is one of them to do some kind of a EMP blast over a critical area, and you could shut down power grids for a state or a region. That's the kind of the fear we had when the Chinese balloon, the spy balloon, was allowed to traverse the country. If they had that kind of technology in there to do something like that.
It's very true.
Now, ordinarily, you would be like, no way, our government wouldn't let another country have some kind of device that would have access, free range across our airspace. But we know that they did. And, for those people who believe, they call him China Joe because he's been bought and paid for by foreign entities, that you just don't trust the government right now. And you see it when you have congressmen and women saying, I'm getting briefings and they can't tell me what the heck this is. That's really weird.
Yeah, it's very weird. Well, we'll keep on top of this, and I just again, we Southerners, I guess people may think we Southerners and Yankees are different. We're really not. We look at things the same way y'all do. We just look at it with a cup of tea in our hands. We talk the same way. Our accents are about the same, and our personalities, we'll just cuss you out as look at you. We'll just do it with a cup of tea, as the Yankees do to us. By the way, the Yankees almost did it. They came up a few games short of those Dodgers, but good year for the Yanks.
It was.
Listen, in general, buddy, tonight, we got a lot of serious things going on in the country, but it is Christmas season, and the Big Apple is famous for the big Christmas tree. What's the sentiment this year? I have to tell you, I was riding around some communities over the weekend, last weekend, and I just noticed that that more people this year had lights out in their homes than last year. Because last year I remember driving, and there was something pale over the country. There was no enthusiasm this time of the year. And it just seems like some of that is coming back. I know, albeit slowly, because Trump's not quite in office yet. But there does seem to be an enthusiasm and a little bit of optimism. Is that what you're seeing in the Big Apple? And how's the Christmas spirit up there this year?
You're talking to people that I know and run into and at events. Yes, there's a genuine sense of relief that our country has been saved or given a reprieve, at least for the next 4 years. Hopefully, which turns into 8 and 12 with J.D. Vance, doing a great job under Trump. But we think it's a return to faith and family, and that's critical for our country. The culture, the Judeo-Christian values that we were built upon, going back to those and getting away from this woke crap that has been destroying us from within.
I couldn't agree more, buddy. I think it's well said, and we feel the same way down here. Do you think that the police force in New York, how about the police officers, law enforcement, they've got to feel a little bit of relief? Because, Mike, we've had you on the show before, and one of the things that I always took away from our interviews that you were so concerned that, I put it like this. Eric Kieran has told me many times that in his field, you can't get good agents, you can't get good people because the morale is so bad, and it's almost like the teachers' situation. The teachers are leaving the profession because there's no support from the top, and I think the police officers has been seeing this too, the police forces. And do you think that may change under Trump, that you might actually get some decent people back into the police force, or are we at a point of no return? Because that's the other thing about this woke crap. I mean, you've got to the point that they expect the police to protect the communities with spitballs instead of protecting them with guns like they're supposed to.
Yeah. No, sadly, as powerful as Trump will be as president, that's a state issue, really. And you could look at Texas right now. Just earlier this month, a police officer in Austin was sentenced to 2 years. He was charged by Soros-appointed DA, Jose Garza, who's just like Alvin Bragg, a Soros guy, who did the unprecedented first time in Austin, which is Travis County, that an officer was convicted for a murder on duty. And this officer responded to a 911 call of a man with a knife at a complex. They get there, they see him on video, the man with the knife, they go open the elevator, and when you open the elevator door, there the man is, and he turns and he starts going toward the officers. There was 3 of them, 2 had guns and 1 had a taser, and he was only 6 feet away to start with, I think. He got to within 3 or 4 feet and disregarded the call to drop the knife, put his hands up, and they shot him and killed him. Totally justified shoot. The DA, Garza, charged him, and the jury convicted him, because Austin, while it's Texas, is very blue liberal. So that's the same story here in New York.
That's unbelievable.
We'll have Trump as president. We're going to have Letitia James as the attorney general, and she sees something where, I hate to say it, it's just like happened in Austin. That was a white cop, and there was a Sri Lankan person who was emotionally disturbed with the knife. You have a white cop here in New York that ends up shooting a black person, and Letitia James and her cronies don't like it. They see a chance for some political gain. They're going after that cop.
Was that sort of Bragg's angle with Penny charging him, because, Mike, that was a case, it's a clear-cut a case of him saving lives on a train, and I would even label it a self-defense in many ways, because he basically saved people from getting killed by this maniac. And now, and I tell you what it does, and I tell you what you just described does. It puts a pause in the policeman's head. It puts a pause in citizens' heads when they see something happening that's bad.
Right.
And they're thinking, if I stop this and I go and do what's right, then I'm the one that's probably going to get convicted, and I'm the one that's probably going to wind up in jail, not the criminal that's doing the bad. Right. And it goes the same thing with the policeman. When you lose that, when you reach a point in society, brother, that's lawlessness, bro. And I'm going to tell you something. If we don't have law in this country, Mike, we ain't got a country. That's one of the foundations. And it's not just the Constitution, man. It's the foundation of society. Correct?
Civilization.
Civilization.
Yeah, you're right. Look, I could tell you personally, I've lived my life trying to be fearless, volunteering and going into Iraq and Afghanistan. And when I worked on the streets, the same way. When it came to bad guys, fearless. But I just recently went back out on the street, and I got to tell you, I am scared crapless that I'm going to do something where, with the best of intentions and, possibly fearing either for my life or somebody else's, and I'm forced to use deadly force, that I am going to get convicted and, end up going behind bars because of the political atmosphere that is New York, that is anti-police, and it's a bad feeling.
Do you think that that's going to trickle down with more and more police officers leaving the force this coming year next?
Either leaving or just not being proactive, or just being very, just answer the call and that's it. Keeping the blinders on, because the more you do, the more trouble you're going to get in, or the more you expose yourself to the potential.
Yeah. I got to ask you a question about Daniel Penny. This is what is so wild to me about his case. And we followed the case pretty closely here. And I was shocked, honestly, that, and I'm grateful it happened. Don't misunderstand me. I'm grateful that it did what happened. But I sure thought that jury in New York was going to convict that young man. I did. Because I thought to myself, if they could convict Trump on this crap charge that Bragg brought, this was probably going to be, because this was physical force. But how surprised were you pleasantly, like I was, that the jury did the right thing here? Because that, too, is a challenge, getting a jury to be unbiased on these things, because usually these DAs know how to stack these juries with liberals.
Right, yeah, I was stunned, truly.
Yeah, I was too.
They made it a racial issue. I believe the prosecutor called him a white man, and white, referenced his color a couple of times. What is that? I mean, his color had absolutely nothing to do with it. He was acting in defense of a train full of colored people. But as Bragg said, when he first came in, he said he was going to be, racial equity was his priority. And that racial equity translates to, revenge and reformative justice, going after people that are not of color, as he did with Daniel Penny. Is
there any remedy, and I know this may be a legal question, but it's worth asking, is there any remedy that can come from the Department of Justice in D.C. over these corrupt DAs and the corrupt attorney generals?
Well, if they can prove that they're, say, infringing upon some people's civil rights by targeting them the way Bragg targeted Daniel Penny, we would see it.
Yeah.
But that's going to be a tough nut to crack. I mean,
I know.
That he's going to have to clean house in the DOJ.
I'm with you there, buddy. Folks, you're watching a very special McFiles Late Night Special. We got Mike Simonelli with us. We'll keep him for another 5 or 10 minutes and let him take his night, and we appreciate you being on tonight, man. It's been a pleasure always, and when you've been on the show. I do want to ask you, where does the state of affairs sit, you think, as we get into this coming year with Trump? What are some of your expectations, and do you think that he's going to, is the illegal situation going to be one of his priorities? If you were, let me put it like this: if Mike Simonelli had the presidency here tonight, and you had 15 minutes with him, and you said, Mr. President, these are the things that we really need to center on, what would Mike Simonelli's top 3 be that we need to focus on as we get into this next year?
Oh, well, I see them happening already, and he's got the perfect man in charge of the border.
Tom Homan.
Tom Homan, the bulldog. I want to retire from the police force and volunteer to go work for him to help him take the illegals out of here.
Me too, man. I'll agree with that.
Yeah, definitely clearing out, going with the violent criminal ones first, and then going on down the line. You know, if you came here illegally, then you sent back, pay the price. You know, when you have people waiting years and years and doing it the right way, then that's who the priority goes to for being American citizens. Getting rid of that. When you know, somebody can just cross over the border, pop out a kid, now all of a sudden they're considered a citizen, and then the whole family can come over and live off the government. That's all got to change. So it's taken away these benefit programs for people that don't deserve them. That American taxpayers should be the ones who benefit from their taxpayers' money. Like the people in North Carolina who are still suffering from the rainstorm, the hurricane, while you have in New York City and other places putting up illegals in $300 a night hotels. So that's a big thing. What he's doing with the military by appointing Pete Hegseth, who is tried and true combat warrior, who has the book, The War on the Warrior, that spells out how you got to get the wokeness out of the military, 100%. Because it's not our foreign enemies, that they can't touch our military in combat, but they can be destroyed from within by this woke cancer. So
have you met Pete personally?
Yes, I did. I met him at the first ever Patriot a Patriot event in Arizona. So I got a picture with him, talked to him a little bit.
He seems like a down to earth guy, Mike, and I tell you, you know, that's why the media has been so brutal on him, and even some of the Republicans. And you know, it goes to something else I want to ask you about, because you know we're talking about the police wanting to retire or get out because of what's going on. And I think that when you look at it, buddy, I think this is the whole country in general. There's a lot of great people out there that could really do a lot of good for this country. I mean, they could afford a lot of good, affect a lot of good, but the meal that they would be put through, and the grinder of the media, and the scrutiny, and the social media crap, and the slander, and the lies, and digging up crap on you from 50 years ago when you were a freaking junior in high school, and digging up every dirt they could get on you. You know what that's done to this country? It has kept people on the sidelines that probably could have made a huge difference in this nation's future. And that is the saddest thing to me. And I look at Pete Hegseth, and I got to be honest with you. Look, I know a lot of people wasn't a big fan of Matt Gaetz. I love Matt Gaetz. And I think he would have made a hell of an attorney general. And I tell you what made me laugh. He had the left scared. He had them scared enough. They did the slander machine against him, and it worked with Matt. It didn't work with Pete. And am I right on that we have reached a crisis, that we can't even get good people in office because of this? Because I wouldn't want to put myself through it. I want to run. I'd get involved in government in a second. But I don't want to have to deal with the slander that would come with it. I just don't.
No, you're right. And a lot of good people don't. So they do stay on the sidelines. No, people don't even talk up at community meetings. Like, I've seen them. I've been part of them. And when they would be online, and then you would see the comments where people would go after them and start doxing them. So it shuts down people typically on our side, because we don't do that to them. That's only something the left does to the right. So people on our side don't want to speak out in the community, don't want to run for office, because they know exactly what you're saying. Their whole entire life is going to be exposed, turned upside down. People are going to lie and come out. You know, all of a sudden, the mainstream media have these anonymous sources that say you did this or that. I love how they can run all these stories on anonymous sources when it's against people on our side, you know, being nominated by Trump. But with their side, you have verified data that they just don't even acknowledge, you know, like the laptop.
Exactly. Thank you. Well, yeah. Hey, I'm glad you brought that up. You heard the report tonight. I don't know if you heard the report out of Wall Street Journal, that they are saying that Joe Biden's cognitive decline did not just begin on the night of the debate, that he was literally weeks into the presidency losing his marbles. And I don't mean that to be funny, but Mike, what's scary as hell about that is we've been having a president that's not even here mentally for 4 years, man, that has had his finger on the freaking nuclear codes, and God knows, look, it's just by the mercy of God that we did not have a national crisis, a big one at least, with him at the helm, because God knows what would have happened. Because they're saying tonight that this guy's been nuts from the day one he took office.
Well, look, Chris, that's something that you and I and people like us have known all along.
Yes.
As did Putin, as did Iran, Hamas, because they would have never executed the attacks they did on Israel or on the Ukraine if Donald Trump had been in office. So they knew they had, oatmeal brains Joe in office, in name only, really. And, the world is burning and our country is reeling because we've had a incompetent president for the past 4 years and a cackling drunk for a vice president, for what I've been told.
Cackling drunk. Yeah, Kamala's been out of the country. I think she has not wanted to answer any questions. Do you think, he pardoned, I saw a figure today, Mike, 8,000 pardons that Biden has issued, man. And Donald Trump issued 267. Biden, 8,062. Where does that have, where's the accountability in that? Is there going to be any accountability? My final question to you is about Hunter. Does the Congress care? Did they just let it go, let Hunter walk into the sunset with that laptop? Or does somebody say, hey, we need to look at why he pardoned him and look at some legal remedies and ramifications? Do you think this all gets swept under the rug after he's gone?
I really hope not. And I don't like it when Trump or people on our side say, we got to let it go because you don't want to be revenge or retribution. And I agree. There shouldn't be revenge or retribution from us or other people against another party. There should be justice. And when you have the amount of evidence that we have, like how does somebody of Hunter's non-qualifications getting millions of dollars given to him by companies from foreign governments, and that's not raising red flags?
I know.
I mean, national security secrets issues are at stake because we saw how Joe had national security classified info, right there in the garage and laying around in other places. Yeah, this is something that our Congress needs to investigate, and that's what we elect them for. And I don't care if they don't want to be called by the media that they're going for revenge and retribution. Too bad.
I'm with you, buddy. We've had this discussion over this network for the last 2 weeks, Mike. Honestly, we had a huge discussion like this, and I'm with you. I know that there is a sentiment out there that we need to have this kumbaya, unify the country, move on. Every time the Republicans do that, every time we do that, the Democrats screw us in the butt. And I tell you why.
Right.
They get back in power. They go back doing the same thing they've done the last 4 years, and really the last 8 years. Because if you think about going back to Trump, man, in that first administration, Mike, this Russia hoax, it crippled the country. The impeachments crippled the country. They lied. There's not one single thing they told that was truthful. Nothing. The media is complicit in this. And look, I think Trump's suing these media outlets. I read a report today. I don't know if it's true, but I did read a report that Elon Musk is considering buying ABC. And he said his first job would be basically to fire the moderators of the debate and then axe the View next. That would be peachy. That'd be a Christmas present in its own. But my point is, and I think I'm with you 1,000,000%, this is not about revenge. This is about justice. And if you don't deal with these people and make them pay for what they've done, they'll do it again, brother. And we'll be right back here 4 years from now, and I'm going to tell you something, they will do it again and again and again until they are stopped. And Trump, I will tell you this, Trump's got the best shot that we're ever going to have. He's lame duck, man. He ain't got nothing to lose this time. He can let it all hang out because he ain't running for re-election.
Nope. Yeah. There's nothing to lose, everything to gain. I'll have to say this with the Democrats. Their policies are horrible. They're socialist, communist. They're anti-family, anti-American, but you got to give them credit. They fight to kill. Politically, they go for the jugular. They do guerrilla warfare. They don't compromise. And that's the problem with our side that you're saying, this kumbaya. No, there is no compromise. We won. We have to use this mandate right now to take our country back.
Yeah, I'm with you. Hey, Liz Goldman's got a question for you. We've got a couple of good questions for you if you got a minute or two. She says, do you think that Trump will get the hostages home? I believe he will. I'm pretty sure he will.
Yeah, I believe so. They don't want Trump coming after them the way he got rid of Qasem Soleimani.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah. They're already. I put it like this: the Hamas people are not touching their pagers, and they are already putting their white flags together, Mike, because they're ready to say no mas. Like what was there, right. Roberto Duran that night that he got his butt kicked? No mas, no mas, no mas. I think that we're about to hear no mas from Hamas. I need to get a T-shirt. No mas from Hamas. That's great. That's a good question. Great. Hey, I got another good one for you. Also from YouTube tonight, Zella says, who has the power to unseal Obama's records he had sealed before being sworn in? You know, we've not talked about Obama. He did have those records sworn in. Do you think, because Trump's been predicting a lot of stuff. He's saying he's going to unseal the Epstein list. He's going to unseal the JFK files. Right. Wouldn't it be peachy? Wouldn't it be peachy if he had the power to unseal Obama's records? I don't know if they could. He's a private citizen now. But would there be any hope that would happen? I mean, I don't know what. Hey, what we would find out is what we've always known, that half of Kenya's his cousins and brothers. I mean, that's about all. That's all we'd find out, right?
Well, you know what? I think when you're going after the truth with the Biden family, you may uncover stuff that has Obama's fingerprints on
Bingo.
it, or at least his knowledge of it.
Bingo.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that, brother. I think that would be a reason to do it. Who would have the authority to do that? The Attorney General?
I would say, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that going to be Pam Bondi? Is that who?
Pam Bondi's going to. I think she's going to be a good one. What do you think of Pam Bondi? What do you think of Pam?
I was watching her years ago when she was the Florida AG, and I thought she was awesome.
Yeah.
And as I know you like Matt Gaetz, and I know he would have been great for our side, like a bulldog going right after them. But I think she's going to be even better because, as a legal mind goes,
I too.
think she's that much better in that atmosphere, in that environment. That's her profession.
You know what I think? This is just an opinion. I think Trump put Matt Gaetz out there with no thought whatsoever that he was going to get nominated. I think I'm not even so sure that him and Matt didn't even talk about this. And I think Trump did it just to scare the blank out of the left. And because he was a bulldog, I think ultimately Pam Bondi was his choice. And I think that Trump, again, is a chess player. And I think that it just, because I thought the reaction was popcorn worthy, man, for a few weeks there. I did. And I mean, I knew that Matt probably didn't have a prayer in hell, but that was my part of it. I didn't really care about his qualifications. I didn't even care if he couldn't spell the word legal. I just wanted him to go in there and scare the blank out of these woke you-know-whats and send them running to the hills, because they were nervous, Mike. Regardless of whether Pam Bondi does a great job, there was something about Matt Gaetz that scared the left bad.
I saw them talking though. I think they're more scared of Pam Bondi because
really,
as scary as he is, she's scary and competent. She's competent. So yeah, I think they're in trouble.
That's a good point, buddy. And I'm with you. And I like Pam Bondi. She's to my south, and I appreciate her. She's a great lady, and I think she's going to do an excellent job. I'm with you. I'm totally with you about the better choice. This is a great question. We'll wrap it up on this. Carol Smith, with the police hands being tied, could there lead to citizens taking the law into their own hands and protecting themselves? And Mike, that is an absolutely outstanding question, and I think that's been a concern by many people, that if the police are going to be hand-strapped, you're going to wind up with vigilante justice on the streets of America if this stuff don't stop, because people are just they're not going to keep taking what they're taking, Mike, without doing something.
And people shouldn't. They should not have to live in fear, right? And that's why you have a Second Amendment right to protect yourself, arm yourself. And unfortunately, even when in the best of atmospheres where the police are supported, we can't be everywhere. So people should be on guard and trained and alert. and be ready to defend themselves and their loved ones, because we can get there as fast as possible. It could still take 2 or 3 minutes, and you may not have 2 or 3 minutes.
Dennis Floyd's got a tongue-in-cheek comment. He says, why don't they just shut the prison down and let everyone go? Hey, one final question. I do want to ask you a question about it. I got a great audience. I just got a bunch of fun guys, people out here.
They would like to do that in New York, actually.
My audience, I've got the absolute best audience in America. I do. They're just so fun to be around every night. I do want to ask you about the pardons. I know that I want to ask you on both sides, Biden's and Trump's. Joe Biden, of all those pardons, which one bothered you the most?
I didn't see, I don't know the details of all of them, but I read the ones that were right in his backyard in Scranton. It was really horrible. There was a judge that was working with businessmen in charge of juvenile prisons.
Yes.
And he was sending kids that had never been arrested before, first time problems, to prison, essentially, and ruining their lives, causing them to kill themselves. And that's a person entrusted.
Yes.
Yeah, that's just egregious. I mean, that was horrible.
Yeah. Who would, I know the J6ers, it's probably the top of my list, but who would you say that Trump needs to really target in his pardons? Because I got a prediction here, and I'll have you back on at the first of the year, and I'll let you, I'll tell you I told you so then. You watch what the left, how they react to Trump's pardons as compared to how they've reacted to Joe Biden's pardons. Because the left has been silent about this judge. I read that same story, and it's sickening. There was a lady that embezzled, $500 million from her municipality and got a slap on the wrist, spent some years in prison, and he commuted a sentence. And the Hunter thing. Yeah. But Trump is going to have his time. And he has indicated that 9 hours into his presidency, he's going to pardon the J6ers. Who else do you think he needs to pardon?
Anybody who's been targeted by the left because of their political motives. Or even there was somebody, cops that have been targeted wrongfully. I know Governor Abbott had pardoned somebody. He wasn't a cop, but he did a shooting during the BLM marches, riots, and where somebody had pointed a weapon at him, and it was a soldier who then he shot the BLM guy and was charged. I think it was by Garza, but he waived it. Governor Abbott did. Yeah. So I would like for Trump to look into what actually happened on January 6th and expose the details of this pipe bomb or pipe bombs that were supposedly assassination attempts upon a vice president that you really don't hear anything about.
Very true. Do you think he releases that Epstein list?
I hope he does. Why didn't he have a chance to do that before?
I think that it happened at the end of his presidency, and when all this debacle happened in 2020, Epstein went off the radar. So I think he's going to get a redo. I tell you what I think is going to happen with Biden. Just a prediction. I would not doubt it in the next month. We got 1 month to go. That Ghislaine Maxwell gets one. I think she gets a get out of jail free card myself, and you may not hear from Ghislaine Maxwell again. I just think that there's too much at stake, man. There's that list, Mike. There is no telling who's on that list. I have just got a feeling that we're going to be shocked at some of the names. Maybe not so shocked with some, but I think there are going to be some names that's going to shock us.
Same thing with the Sean Combs list?
Yes, the P. Diddy. Come on.
P. Diddy, right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, man, listen, it's been a pleasure tonight. I want to thank the audience for the good questions, and it's always a pleasure to have you. I hope we can get you on quite a bit this coming year. Thank you for being a friend of the McFiles, and I appreciate you being on, and I'll have you back on soon. I want to wish you and your family a very, very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And this Southerner, I hate to say it, we salute those Yankees, and good luck, and those Dodgers got the best of you, but at least you made it to the World Series, and that's a good thing. You hadn't been there in a while, and our prayers with you, and I know you got a lot of life changes coming next year. I'm proud of you, and thank you for being a friend, and thank you for being part of this McFile journey, man. God bless you.
Thank you, Chris. My pleasure, absolutely. Merry Christmas to you, your audience. God bless you, and a Happy New Year. It's going to be a great one.
It's going to be a great one, Mike, and I appreciate you. Absolutely. Prayers for you and all in New York. God bless, friend. Good night.
Thank you.
Mike Simonelli, everybody. Put some fire in that house. We're so grateful for him, and my goodness, what a good guy there. And had a good interview with him. That's a good way to get our week sort of toward the end. Liz Goldman says, I hope he pardons Ava, Edel, and the rest of the people praying at the abortion clinics. Liz, I was going to say that, and I'll agree with you. We talked about that with Carla Nicole. We sure did earlier tonight. And I do too. I think the people praying at the abortion clinics are probably more needed to have pardons than even the J6ers. And not that the J6ers don't. I believe that they need to. But I'm more grieved over what they did to these people that were praying. Just literally praying. Not threatening. Not standing in the way. And a lot of these people, Liz, were standing across the street. They wasn't even in the walkway of the abortion clinic. And not cool. Not cool. But that was the Biden DOJ. And look, and I just hope all hell's coming. That's all I got to say. I do not believe that we need to let this be slid under the rug. I think that somebody, they need to look and do an orifice cleaning of the Department of Justice, the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, and it needs to start at the top and work its way down. Because if we don't get these actors out that have been doing this stuff for years, it will never stop. And it needs to stop. It needs to stop. It needs to stop. All righty. Good to see everybody in the house tonight, and great guest tonight. Carrie, good to see you, dear. Cedric, Cedric, I want to answer your question so bad, but this is a family show. I'll just say, if I was a betting man, Cedric, if I was a betting man, I should put your question up as a poll. It's what I should, and see what the results would be. I'd probably be shocked. I'll just say that I'll leave that to the God of heaven. Only He knows. Only He knows. I'll leave it at that. How about that? I'll answer it in a dignified manner, Cedric. I'll answer it in a dignified manner. Only God knows. Anyway, good to see everybody in the house tonight. It is right at 10:30, and I'm going to take a question or two, and then we're going to say goodnight to you. We'll be back here tomorrow night, and we hope you've enjoyed our guest tonight. We've had a really good Thursday night. Both these shows have been excellent tonight. I've really was so grateful that Carla Nicole came on earlier tonight. Did a great job talking about this abortion issue. Mike Simonelli, wonderful, wonderul friend, wonderful guy, great guest, and we just had a good year. I tell you, as we wound this thing down, we got about a week and a half left, and with Christmas coming, we won't have as many guests left. We got Bianca Gracia coming, I know, and we'll probably get James Akers on again this year. And a few other surprise guests. We got Helen Q, a new guest that we'll be playing an interview for. Now, Monday night, Bill Federer will be with me, but it'll be a replay show. We're going to deal with St. Nick with Bill. And next week's going to be very light. Monday and Tuesday night, we'll have a Christmas Eve service on the Faith side, communion. And we may air it here on the news side. I don't know. But it'll be a time of faith and reflection. And we'll have a New Year's Eve service as we celebrate 2024 and welcome in 2025. And take your thoughts then and talk about some things. So I know the world's going to be crazy, and of course if something major happens, we'll always report it and come on and so forth. But we've had a good year. We've had a good year of guests, and we've had some new guests show up. We've had some regular guests that are always with us. They've done some outstanding jobs. And I want to just thank you tonight publicly, folks, for the 7-year journey that we have been on with you. And every year is different. Every year we get new people in on the audience, and other people leave and they come back. Others come in new, they leave, come back, and people come, people go. And we always have a saying, the best stay. The best stay. And we appreciate you that have stayed with us this year and through this journey. I think that it's it's a fair statement that to do a podcast and to do a show like this regularly and consistently takes a lot of grace from God to do. And above all things tonight, I do thank you for being here, but I thank God above all things tonight. I thank the Lord for that He gave me the mercy and gave me the grace to do what I'm doing. I've never been happier. I'll be 60 years old in January, and I don't think there's ever been a greater period of my life that I've enjoyed in my journey of life than I have since 2018. Because I look forward to this every night. I look forward to seeing you out there every night. I take the questions. I know we've had our ups and downs, and the show has been through so many dramas and so many things. I'm going to have to write a book one day when I'm done and have to edit half of it out because people wouldn't believe the truth if I told them what was going on behind the scenes sometimes with stuff. I've just learned to laugh about it. I was a little wired up at the beginning when we started this. I didn't know how to handle some of the stuff. I've matured. I've watched myself mature. And I've just begun to learn to laugh at a lot of the craziness. But I've never, ever, ever, ever taken you for granted that you're out there tonight. And I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful for you. I am. And I hope you've enjoyed the journey we've been on. And next year, there'll be some slight changes here or there, but we're going to be doing basically the same thing. We've got an exciting announcement coming Sunday. I want you to be with me on Sunday morning meeting time, Sunday night Bible study. And we're going to wrap this year up on a bang. That's all I got to say. We're going to wrap it up on a bang. And I want you to be with me, especially Christmas Eve night. And as we celebrate the Lord's birth and have a time of fellowship with you. And I want you to enjoy your Christmas season, and I hope you are. And as I told the faith people over the weekend or one night, don't let these bah humbugs tell you not to celebrate Christmas. Get out there and celebrate it. Get out there and enjoy the lights, enjoy the season, enjoy the songs and sounds, and don't be a Scrooge. Don't be a Scrooge. Don't be a Scrooge. We love you very much. We appreciate you. And the Morosky, we're grateful that you're here. We hope that you enjoyed the show too. Welcome. And we are grateful to have you. And we've got a faith network, V, that we have, and we encourage you to join us over there. Now, if you're on Facebook, where you are tonight, we air both the faith shows and the news shows there. So you'll get a little taste of our faith network Sunday morning. And we welcome you. We welcome you to the McFiles family. We're family here. I tell all my guests this when they come on. They're just a guest for 5 minutes. Once they stay with us for 5 minutes, they're family. And for better, for worse, some of them have taken that as a challenge and they said goodbye. We don't see them again after that. Some of them have stayed with us. So I don't know if they think that's just... I got to share something. I hope Carol Smith don't mind. I got the sweetest Christmas card. I want to thank all of you for the Christmas cards that we've been getting this week. They have been so precious. I've read every one of them. I was sitting in my Jeep yesterday. It was pouring rain. And I just happened to open Carol Smith's card up. And I didn't read it all, but I read the first paragraph, and I literally teared up. And I'll just paraphrase it. It's not verbatim. There's some stuff in there I'm not going to say because it was a special, special card. But she said, I started listening to a Bible teacher with a Southern accent 5 years ago, and I'm still listening to him today. And I thought about what she was saying, and we Southerners, we're just a little different. And, as I said, I will be the first to tell you that the early years were rough. We had some funny stuff go on. We had some stuff that wasn't so funny that went on. I got a little wired up at times. I still get wired up, but I've learned to temper it a little better. As I said, I've learned to laugh about it. That's how I diffuse my anger about stuff. I laugh, and I've just learned to take things in stride. I know the chat has been a big source of problems. We fixed that, and I ain't worried about it no more. I think people understand what we expect of them in this chat room, and You know, we don't harp about it like we used to anymore, and we're not going to. You misbehaved in my chat room, we'll just kick your butt out. That's how we do it. People don't like that, but that's all right. But we have tried our best to grow with the show, and we just hope, I truly do, and I mean this sincerely tonight, that through all of these shows, I mean, folks, I hadn't even never stopped and figured out how many shows we've done, but over 7 years, we've done that's over 2,000 shows. I mean, we've done over close to 2,500 shows. That's unreal. And that's a lot of shows. And that's not even counting the Bible studies and the faith stuff. And, there's a lot of podcasts out there, but not too many of them are on every single night like we've been. And there have been some weeks that we've been on 7 straight nights a week through this journey. There's some nights we're on 5 nights and 4 nights, but we come on at least once a night. Some nights we give you 2 shows. There were times I was giving you 3, and it like the cost of my life because my heart got messed up and had to get an ablation. The doctor told me, he said, you calm down and live, or you keep doing what you're doing and you die. And I promised the Lord, I said, I'm going to take things in stride and not get so stressed out, and I did, and the Lord's helped me. But just being a little transparent here at the end of the night, but we have had a ball doing this. And I just pray that through all the craziness and through all the ups and downs and through the departures and the people that have come and gone on this show and the things that have been said out there about us and the things that have been slandered and all this stuff, that through all that, you have been encouraged. You've laughed with us. We've left you with a laugh. We've laughed. I even broke out the Christmas hat. I got to do that tomorrow night. I got to wear the Christmas hat tomorrow night, not the cowboy hat. But we love you, and we appreciate you. And our heart has always been to keep you informed, to keep you grounded, to keep you encouraged, and to let you know that we're in this fight together. And we're still going to be in this fight together because the fight ain't over. And as long as there's a fight, this show will be here. I will be here. And as long as the Lord continues to help us, we're going to be here. I want to thank all of you tonight on this Thursday night. I'll be back with you tomorrow night. We'll have some fun tomorrow night. No guests as of right now, but we're going to play a lot of video and have a little fun with you. And it's Friday Night Follies. And I hope you join me. I don't know what time yet. That's the other thing. People have complained in the past, well, if you would just have a consistent time. Well, I tell you what, it must not be too big a deal because we've maintained an audience for 7 years, and whether we're on at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, y'all have still been there. And I'm grateful you've been here, no matter what time of the night. We try to air usually between 8 or 9. A lot of the times it depends on our guests. Like tonight, Carla needed to go early, and I said, well, come on, we'll get you on at 7. Mike came on at 9:30. But we try to be as consistent as we can. Sometimes we can, sometimes we can't. So we thank you for your understanding about that. Our face shows are on Wednesday night at 8, Sunday morning at 10, Sunday night at 6. That's been consistent. Bible study in the morning on the Faith Network, if you'd like to join us there. May the Lord bless you and your families tonight. And I wish you a very, very Merry Christmas. Very Merry Christmas. And I'm looking forward to being with you another New Year next year. I really do. And thank you all for putting up with this Southern redneck for 7 years. Because we've had a ball with you. And we got a lot more to do, okay? Let's fight it together. And let's fight for our country. Pray for our country. Pray for each other and love each other out there. Please love each other and care for one another. Because that's all we got, folks. That's all we got. May the Lord bless you tonight. Did you like that song I played? I'm going to have to play that Christmas Carol again. This was priceless.
Well, the tide is finally
Have a good night, everybody. I'll see you back here in the morning on the face side and back here tomorrow night.
God, we're saying bye to Joe. Screw the woke, screw the woke, screw the woke. And the mainstream media's dying. Their viewers shaving their heads and crying. What is a woman? Well, they still don't know. Screw the woke, screw the woke, screw the woke. They tried to stop us by taking his life, but they missed, so it's fight, fight, fight. The left really thought they'd beat the right, and they fought, but they lost, thank the Lord. Now January is coming. Half of Hollywood's already running. They're finding new countries to call home. Screw the woke, screw the woke, screw the woke.
Have a holly jolly Christmas, it's the best time of the year. I don't know if there'll be snow, but have a cup of cheer. Have a holly jolly Christmas, and when you walk down the street, say hello to friends you know and everyone you meet. Ho, ho, the mistletoe is hung where you can see. Somebody waits for you, kiss her once for me. Have a holly jolly Christmas, and in case you didn't hear, oh by God, they have a holly jolly Christmas this year. The mistletoe, it's hung where you can see. Somebody waits for you, kiss her once for me. Have a holly jolly Christmas, and in case you didn't hear, oh by golly, have a holly jolly Christmas this year. Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things. Cream-colored ponies and crisp apple strudels, doorbells and sleigh bells and schnitzel with noodles, wild geese that fly with the moon on their wings. These are a few of my favorite things. Girls in white dresses and blue satin sashes, snowflakes that stay on my nose and eyelashes, silver white winters that melt into spring. These are a few of my favorite things. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite things, then I don't feel so bad. Girls in white dresses and blue satin sashes, snowflakes that stay on my nose and eyelashes, silver white winters that melt into spring. These are a few of my favorite things. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite things, then I don't feel so bad. Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. And since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Well, it doesn't show signs of stopping, and I brought some corn for popping, and the lights are turned way down low. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. When we finally kiss goodnight, oh, how I hate going out in the storm. But if you'll really hold me tight, all the way home I'll be warm. Oh, the fire is slowly dying, and my dear, we're still goodbying. And as long as you love me so, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. When we finally kiss goodnight, how I hate going out in the storm. But if you'll really hold me tight, all the way home I'll be warm. Well, the fire is slowly dying, and my dear, we're still goodbying. But as long as you love me so, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Let it snow, let it snow. Happy holiday, happy holiday, may the merry bells keep ringing. Happy holiday to you. It's the holiday season, and Santa Claus is coming round. The Christmas snow is white on the ground. When Santa gets into town, he'll be coming down the chimney down. He'll have a big fat pack upon his back, and lots of goodies for you and for me. So leave a peppermint stick for old Saint Nick hanging on a Christmas tree. It's the holiday season, so hoop-dee-doo and dickory-dock, and don't forget to hang up your sock, 'cause just exactly at 12 o'clock he'll be coming down the chimney down. He'll have a big fat pack upon his back, and lots of goodies for you and for me. So leave a peppermint stick for old Saint Nick hanging on a Christmas tree. It's the holiday season, so hoop-dee-doo and dickory-dock, and don't forget to hang up your sock, 'cause just exactly at 12 o'clock he'll be coming down the chimney, coming down the chimney, coming down the chimney down. Happy holidays, happy holidays, happy holidays, happy holidays. May the merry bells keep ringing. Happy holidays.